welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into one of the absolute most fascinating narratives out there, the Book of Tobit. Some of the most profound insights into how life actually works, they don't come from giant historical accounts of kings crushing armies or prophets calling down fire from heaven. Nope. Often, they pop up through ordinary families, quiet acts of kindness, and people who just keep moving forward when literally nothing seems to make sense. So we're going to uncover the hidden thread of divine providence in this ancient text and look at exactly how ordinary grace operates behind the scenes in our own lives. So what if God is working and you just can't see it yet? That right there hits on a deeply human feeling, doesn't it? The pain of delayed answers, that illusion that God is just completely absent. I mean, how often do we judge our entire life's trajectory based solely on our present temporary circumstances instead of looking at the long game? It's so incredibly easy to mistake silence for absence. We confuse a delay with a flat-out denial. But as we'll see, beneath the really remarkable events of Tobit's story lies this timeless, super analytical message about faith, suffering, and the incredibly quiet ways extraordinary purposes get accomplished, even when you absolutely cannot see the finish line. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the illusion of absence. Okay, so Tobit's reality at the start, it looks like a massive disappointment. We meet this profoundly faithful guy who gets hit with a sudden, tragic curveball that completely flips his world upside down. I mean, here's a man who consistently obeys God. He cares for the poor. He even risks his own personal safety to bury the dead with dignity when literally everyone else refuses. Logically, you'd expect some immediate rewards for that level of dedication, right? But instead, he's struck by a totally unexpected accident that leaves him completely blind. Suddenly, he can't work, he's entirely dependent on others, and to anyone looking from the outside, well, it probably looked like this righteous man had been completely forgotten. But Tobit's story absolutely shatters a huge misconception we all have, the idea that hardship or a random accident somehow equals divine abandonment. We do this all the time, right? We assume that if our circumstances are rough, things must have gone off the rails, or we must have messed up somehow. Tobit's life totally challenges that. His blindness, his suffering, it actually wasn't evidence that God had turned away. Actually, scratch that, it was the complete opposite. A really beautiful answer was already being prepared behind the scenes. Tobit just couldn't see it yet. And here's the thing about true mercy. It has always carried a heavy, multifaceted cost. Tobit never stopped caring for others even when it put a target on his back. His compassion wasn't just some convenient weekend hobby. Real mercy demands our time, it interrupts our comfort, it drains our resources, and yeah, sometimes it even costs us our reputation. But the Book of Tobit reminds us that kindness is never, ever wasted. Every single act of mercy serves a greater purpose. Even when nobody else seems to notice the sacrifices you're making, that investment absolutely matters in the grand scheme of things. Moving right along, let's look at section 2, unseen connections in prayer. This brings us to this incredible moment of dramatic irony involving a grieving woman named Sarah who lives miles and miles away from Tobit. And it illustrates one of the most powerful dynamics in the whole story. On one side, you have Tobit. He's at rock bottom, dealing with physical blindness and total discouragement. He isn't hiding his pain. He's pouring out his heart with complete, raw honesty. And at that exact same moment, far away, Sarah is crying out from her own overwhelming emotional sorrow and deep, deep wounds. It's two completely isolated moments of absolute despair. Neither one knew the other was seeking help. Neither had a clue their stories would ever intersect. Yet heaven was already weaving their isolated, broken lives into a single, cohesive masterpiece. Sometimes we get it in our heads that an unanswered plea means absolutely nothing is happening. But God often starts working way, way before we ever recognize his answer. His response to both Tobit and Sarah was already moving through circumstances they couldn't even begin to wrap their minds around. While they were waiting, separately, in the dark, the stage was actively, quietly being set for their deliverance. Which brings us to section 3, Providence in Ordinary Steps. Let's dive into the journey of Tobit's son, Tobias. This part perfectly shows how miraculous interventions often disguise themselves in the utterly mundane, boring routines of everyday life. Tobias and his traveling companion, Azariah, head out, and honestly, their journey seems completely ordinary. Walking dusty roads, crossing rivers, having normal conversations, making mundane decisions. Nothing looks miraculous at all. It just looks like a tiring, standard road trip. But that's the incredible part, because we, the audience, know a massive secret. His buddy Azariah is actually the archangel Raphael in disguise. No way, right? It was only after the whole journey wrapped up that Tobias realized every single one of those boring, ordinary steps had been purposefully guided. So the big takeaway here is that God absolutely delights in working through ordinary lives.
He rarely asks us to become famous before we become faithful. Instead, he uses everyday actions from completely ordinary folks. Think about it. None of the main characters in this story are especially powerful. Tobit is an aging, disabled father. Tobias is an inexperienced kid on a road trip. Sarah is a grieving woman. Heck, even an archangel like Raphael chooses to show up as just a regular guy. It's a reminder that we're invited to serve exactly where we are. We just have to trust that a kind word, a generous gift, or a quiet moment of faithfulness can become something extraordinary when placed in the right hands.
Now we're at the final stretch, Section 4, the power of hindsight.
All right, here is the climax of our explainer, the moment where that hidden thread of Providence finally becomes crystal clear to everyone involved. Suddenly, it all connects, proving exactly how difficult experiences eventually reveal an unexpected purpose. Remember that frightening fish that attacked Tobias? It seemed totally terrifying at the time, but it literally becomes the exact source of the healing medicine they need. That difficult, super uncertain journey, it wasn't just a physical trek, it was the hidden path toward family restoration. And Tobit's tragic blindness? It felt like the end of the road for him, but it was actually the necessary setup for an undeniable miracle. None of this made sense at first, but together, they formed a redemption story far greater than anyone could have guessed.
When the archangel Raphael finally drops the disguise and reveals his heavenly identity to the family, his reaction is so telling. He immediately deflects all the glory. It shows that true humility is the absolute hallmark of genuine service. He totally refuses to take the credit, pointing everything straight back to God. His mission was never about getting a pat on the back. It was always about faithful obedience. And honestly, the greatest actions are often taken by the people who care the least about being noticed. Their reward isn't a round of applause. It's that quiet, deep-down knowledge that they got to participate in a much larger unfolding plan.
Life unfolds a lot like this story, doesn't it? Rarely do we recognize the underlying guidance when we're right in the thick of it. We only really get it in hindsight. The unexpected meeting, a delayed opportunity, a slammed door, or that person who walked into our life at the exact right second. What seemed like total coincidence at the time later reveals itself as God's quiet providence. The very chapters we would gladly erase from our lives often end up being the exact chapters that reveal the grand design the most clearly.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. Consider what current frustration, what annoying delay, or what closed door in your life right now might actually be quiet providence at work, setting up tomorrow's blessing. The Book of Tobit really invites us to trust that the exact same force that quietly guided one family story through blindness, long journeys, and hidden identities is still quietly guiding ours today. Even when things seem completely silent, purpose is still present. Well, if this explainer helped you see things a bit more clearly, definitely share it with someone who might need a reminder of this perspective today. Keep trusting the process even when you can't see the full picture. And I'll catch you in the next explainer.